Hi, everybody. Dr. K here for our second virtual symposium. I'm so excited to be here and welcome colleagues and friends from America, Thailand, China, Bhutan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, and hopefully other places. This is just the start of something big. This is our second virtual symposium, and it's my pleasure. I'm Dr. K, Jeff Kritzer. It is my pleasure to welcome you. So today we have, and can you give me a thumbs up if you can all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so today we have 4 presenters. We're really fortunate to have Dr. Kurt Bonk from the University of Indiana. After that, we have Dr. Roy Wu from Taiwan, University of Kangning. We have my friend and colleague, Jiraporn Chano from Mahasarakam University in Thailand. And my friend, Dr. Erli Salim from Universitas Pendidikan in Indonesia. And I'm Jeff Kritzer, and I will be moderating today's symposium. So a few of our little ground rules. First of all, make sure your mic is muted. Okay. And also try to keep your camera open if you don't mind. I noticed my co-host Roy is here from Taiwan. Welcome, buddy. I'm going to make you a co-host as well. So a few more of the ground rules. We have a chat. If you click on the chat and you have a question, you can type your question in whatever language you want. English, Chinese, Indonesia, Thailand, and people are here after everybody presents. People are available to read the questions and answer those questions. That's the best way we can do it with so many people. Okay, so also, if you like what you're hearing, you can applaud, send love, you can cry, do what you wish. Okay, by using these reactions. When it's all over, I'm going to send you a poll. If you fill out that poll at the end of the session, I'm going to send you a certificate for completing the course. Is Kurt Bonk here? Okay, so now we're waiting for our first presenter, and give me a second here to get him online. Fawn, why don't you say hi to everybody for us while I get Kurt online?
Okay. Good evening. Maybe good morning for Jeff, but in Thailand and China, it's good evenings. Ni hao.
Good morning,
and
Kurt.
today, my student, PhD student, joined the class, and master degree student who study curriculum and instruction joined the class. And I observed that some of my friends from Arizona, Mac is there, but he disappeared. Not sure. Okay. Yeah. Welcome to the symposium. Nice to see you here. Thank you. Kelly, you say something?
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for giving me a chance to join with this symposium. I'm really glad to see my buddy, my friends, Jira, Roy, and also Ming Ming, yeah. And also I saw my students too here, Vi Kurniasi and um, many others like Laila or someone from Indonesia. Please, everybody, everyone, enjoy your symposium. And this is really a good chance for you to link with international academic and scholars around the world. Thank you, Jeff, and hope this symposium series is not only one, and we're expecting another symposium to come. Thank you.
So all we're doing right now is we're waiting for Dr. Bog to join us.
Mm-hmm. And Roy, say something.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hi Jeff. Hi Hurry. Hi Jura and Miming and other friends. And nice to meet you here. And I want to thank Dr. Jeff and thanks for your organizing this program. I think it's quite meaningful, and I hope today's conference symposium will be successful. So I thank you all in advance. That's it. Okay, I hand back to you, Jeff.
Okay, I'm waiting for our 15 minutes, our speaker that starts at 5 minutes. Okay, so everybody get a cup of coffee, relax, and our first speaker will be here within 5 minutes.
Hi, Jeff.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Whiskey.
In Taiwan, how do you say cheers?
Come by.
Come by. How about
yeah,
Thailand is what? I can't remember. Upa. No, that's Greece.
Yeah. Maybeดื่ม.
How about Indonesia?
How about China, Mimi? How to say?
Gambe, right?
Gambe.
China has very powerful drink. White, very clear, powerful drink, right? 3 toasts, 3 toasts, 3 toasts. Is Kurt here with us?
Not yet. I'm looking.
Hi, Jeff.
Yes.
What are the participants' background? I mean, their nationalities. I mean, or their classes.
Well, we have people from Europe, like Taiwan, China, Thailand, Bhutan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Cambodia, maybe Vietnam, I'm not sure, and maybe America. My students get credit for watching.
Okay, thank you.
Is Kurt here?
Not yet.
Okay, we still got a couple of minutes.
Mac, you want to say something? อาจารย์ Mac, Teacher Mac, my friend from Arizona.
Arizona.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Welcome.
not gonna put on my video because I'm actually running in the desert right
Okay.
now.
Okay, that's good. You
So-
can listen.
What university?
So I graduated from Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, Arizona, with a master's in teaching English as a second language. And I taught in Thailand for about a decade, but currently I'm in law school in my third year at Arizona State University.
Wow, that's great. Welcome to our organization.
Appreciate it. I always like,
Welcome.
yeah. So, but I'm always very impressed and very interested in curriculum development. I am a Native American and Native Hawaiian, and have been raised on the reservations in northern Arizona. And so curriculum, I feel, is a very important thing, just because I personally have experienced a lack of curriculum on reservations, and hope to always improve the opportunities for students and teachers alike. But it's really nice to be here.
That's great. And I invite you to go to my website and join our organization.
Mau nggak?
Excellent. I'll have Dr. Chano make sure that happens. We get connected. So I'm really happy to be here.
She is the best.
concur.
Thank you.
Is Kurt here?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
I'm going to say that Roy, would you mind would you mind loading up your PowerPoint and start, just in case Kurt's a little late?
Okay, wait.
You can share.
Okay, I'm doing it.
And,
yes.
And I apologize, Roy, if Kurt comes on, I'm gonna have to interrupt you, okay?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. And so, am I doing right?
You can share your screen. I gave you the capability of doing that.
Yes.
So share your PowerPoint on your screen.
Yes, I'm doing it.
No problem.
Okay. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
I can see it clearly.
Okay. So could I start now or later?
Please.
Okay.
Please start now.
Okay. Okay. I never expect I'm coming first. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Today, I'm very happy to share some viewpoints about the educational research. So if you have the voice, you cannot hear me properly, just let me know, okay? Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about the educational research. And I'm talking this topic is because I want to let everyone know our academic background, particularly in educational research or special educational research. So before going further, I will ask you some questions, all the participants to answer all these questions. And I would like you to write down your answers. 4 questions here, and all are yes, no questions. So could you write down your answers? And after my presentation, I would like to ask you the same question again And I would like you to compare your answers. If you change your mind, if you do, and that's wonderful. If not, it's still okay because there is no absolute answer about my questions. But I think those questions are pretty good and can make everyone to reflect your philosophical positions. So the first question, would you call yourself a scientist? And please write down your answer. Okay, question 2. Is education science? Okay, question 3. Is quantitative research scientific? I mean, the numbers, we use numbers to do educational research. Okay, the final question, is qualitative research scientific? The qualitative research, something like interview, documents, and so on. Are all of you answer the question?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you 10 seconds. Only 10 seconds.
Roy, you could make presentation view if you want.
Okay. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the current academic background in terms of educational research. Nowadays, we are in a society full of skepticism. Question all the our motivations. We question others' motivations. We question what we taken for granted. You know, the second is we always challenging grand narrative. The grand narrative is the term used by postmodernism, and that means like Buddhism, Christian, Marxism, science. We change all of these theories. We don't believe any of them. And the final one is we emphasize the individual interpretation of the world. So in this background, I'm talking about today's topic. And it has 3 themes. What is science? What are scientific methods? And based on your answers of the 2 questions above, I'm going to talk about alternative methodologies. So 3 questions, 3 themes here. The first one, science concept. What is science? And I'm going to introduce 3 iconic figures: Karl Popper, Thomas Kuhn, Paul Feyerabend. They were very, very influential figures in 20th century in the field, in the philosophy of science. Before talking about Karl Popper, I would like to give you a brief idea about the science. In the Western community, the science could be traced back to ancient Greek time. And the debate started there, Aristotle and Plato. Aristotle suggests people to use inductive approach to see the world, to get the principle, to understand the world. The inductive approach means we observe our experience and then we draw the conclusion. For example, we see the sun rise in the east every day, and then we have a conclusion. Sun always arise in the east. That's the Aristotle's idea. And Plato, on the contrary, such have different ideas. He argues that we need to use deductive approach. That means we cannot get any absolute knowledge from experience. So we need to use rationality. We need to use our mind to think, you know. So we need to use our rationality to understand the world. So that's the debate started. And then we come back 20th century. We look at Karl Popper. He says, science is not going to confirm anything. We cannot prove anything. We just can prove something is wrong. We cannot prove something is right. Because what we observed, no matter how many experiments we do, we cannot guarantee the same result in the next experiment or in the next observation. That's a limit of the empirical. You know, the empirical means experience. So we are limited to our experience. So science can only prove what is not true. So they emphasize deductive approach. The only way to get to the true knowledge is used like the Plato's approach, deductive approach. We need to have a presupposition or assumption which is true, and then we can get the conclusion which is true. For example, if human have lifespan, and each one would have a lifespan. So the presupposition is true, everyone has a lifespan. Then the conclusion, I have a lifespan, is true. So he emphasized we need to use deductive approach to understand the world or establish our knowledge. And so he argues that there is a stark demarcation between true science and the non-science. For example, he says the Sigmund Freud, you know, the psychoanalytic is not a true science. That doesn't mean non-science is not important or non-inspiring. Instead, non-science could be inspiring. Okay. And the next very famous scholar is Thomas Kuhn, and he has opposite ideas about the science. He says, science, we from different fields always have paradigms and containing a set of assumptions which we don't question usually. For example, I'm from the special education background, and I was trained to believe something like we believe the law could protect kids. The special educational law could provide the guaranteed educational quality for students. And I am trained to use traditionally quantitative research, the scientific methods in doing research. And I believe something is true. And I seldom question them, because I was trained to do that. Sorry. So we all have the paradigms in every discipline, and we believe that should be true. Okay, so most scientists just do the normal science. The normal science means we do regularly. We do the experiment, we do studies, and we don't question the fundamental principles all the time. Unless we encounter some deviations or anomalies, which means the data do not fit in our theory and lead us to question the paradigm or the theory, and we start changing our paradigm or changing our theory, and we re-establish the foundation of knowledge again. Thomas Kuhn's idea. And in the late 20th century, the Paul, who was influenced by the postmodernism, and he started thinking and wondering if science is the only way to understand the world, or it's just the one way to understand the world. And he says that the science is only one way to establish knowledge. So the science revolution requires creativity and belief. We can't separate our faith from the science. I think Albert Einstein once said, people ask him, why do you believe the relativism is true? And he answered, it's so simple, so beautiful, it must be true. What does that mean? That Einstein, a very famous scientist, and he believed faith. He has faith on his work. So we can't just separate the faith and the science. So we have the passion to do something. I give you a very easy example. Why do you want to be a researcher? It's because your passion, emotion, or that's because you think it's the right to do. I think most of us believe it's true, and also believe we can help students and help others while after in doing studies. So we can't just separate the faith, and the science. But Paul has very famous but controversial ideas. He says every method goes. It means you can use every method to do research. Of course, it's very controversial, and he really changed his mind in his late career life. It's clear here? Okay. So there's no, and he argues that there's no fixed rule for science research, because we need creativity to have an insight and have a science revolution. So what is science? So science actually is the evolving and dynamic idea. And also is the competing and the debating idea and among the scientists. And also is the non-unified, not universal concept. So I make a short conclusion here, and I stop here for a second, and let you think a while. Hi, Jeff.
Yes.
Is the doctor on his name Curtin? Oh,
Kurt.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, go on. He not come yet.
Not yet. Hey,
Okay.
he's coming. I'll let you know.
okay. And now, so what kind of attitudes should we have as the researcher? I think particularly in social science, we need to have the attitudes, I believe. The first one is critical and reflexive. We need to critical on our own work and research, and also reflexive. And we need to understand science is the only way to know the world, particularly in social science. And also, when I say non-science, doesn't mean no insights. No, it just means we need to have a very clear idea what is science and what's the purpose of science. And finally, science needs faith. I always believe faith. The faith keeps our life moving, not science. Okay, the second theme today is scientific methods. Okay, traditionally, in educational research, we talk about three methods and vary the most and put on the highest. The first is the randomly controlled trials. It's called, people usually call it experimental design. We have two groups. We compare the results. We manipulate the variables, and we draw the conclusion. And we think the conclusion is reliable, valid, and even unchallenged. And the second one is the quasi experimental design. That means you don't have the random selection, but you still have two groups, and you compare the results to manipulate, the variables, and you have the conclusion, and you think it's better because you still can draw a causality or cause effect relationship. And the third method is called the single subject design. You select one group or one or two or several subjects, participants, and you intervene. You do some experiments, and then you pull out your intervention, and you do it again, and you put out again, and you draw a line and showing its variations, and the result, and you think, okay, those three methods are called scientific methods. So it's very common. People value those three methods. And the core idea of the scientific methods is that the qualitative research is more varied and reliable, and qualitative research is only for answering what question, what type of question. For example, what the definition of meaning? For example, what is science? To interview the scientist, what is science? It just only answer what question, and you cannot draw the conclusion, the relationship between dependent variables and independent variables. So they limit qualitative in what the type of what questions. And on the other hand, the quantitative research can unravel relationship between factors. It's very traditional ideas about the science methods. But if any researchers still have very strong emotions or passion about the scientific methods, I just can say it probably ignore the development of qualitative research over the last decades, because if you look at the development over the last 50 years, you see the critical theory and postmodern theory, the narrative research. We use the different philosophical paradigms to understand the educational issues. But for most of the researchers, we probably ignore them. And it's very common because we are trained, we learned, we receive education, and education define what to believe, what not to believe, what the boundary of our discipline. For example, what is special education, what is the right way to do special education, what's the right way to do education, so we are limited, we all limited to our education, or our past is limited to our experience. And you probably overlooked the limitation of inductive inference or statistical probability on educational research. For example, in natural science, you cannot say, okay, I have 95% of confidence I believe something, and I preserve 5% of confidence on what I believe. It's like just like I believe, the Earth orbits the sun, and with 95% of confidence, it's nonsense for natural scientists. So in the natural science, there's not such a thing like the confidence interval. So I just can say we need to value other alternative methods and reflect on the traditional research methods. That's I'm arguing. I'm not arguing we need to abolish all the scientific methods or the three methods I just mentioned, because each method, each paradigm has its limitation, its advantage and the disadvantages. That's why I'm arguing. So then I'm going to talk about the third theme, alternative methodologies. And I would introduce two main paradigms over the past decades. The one is critical theory, and the other one is the postmodernism. And critical theory actually is from the legal, the law, from legal state is the law. And we talk about the knowledge is historical and culturally contextualized. So it's a value legend and subjective. They don't believe there is such a thing, objectivity, So, and also the social system are developed to benefit the elite and oppress the marginalized people. The system benefits the mainstream people. But we can improve our societies through collective actions. If we work together, like today, we organize a symposium, we try to make the world better. It's the collective actions we can improve our society. We can improve inequality and injustice. And postmodernism doesn't move further. He doesn't believe the grand narrative. He doesn't believe the critical theory, because he doesn't believe we can. There is no kind of the collective actions, because each one has individual, unique experience. and we need to speak out for ourselves. It's very common. You see after World War II, there are very many civil wars in around the world, and they are called for the justice, and when they gain the power, they become another power of oppression, dominance, and silence other people. It's very common. I don't want to mention any country. I just talk about a general fact. So the postmodernism believes that truth is constructed. We can construct our world. We understand our world. We based on our experience. We interpret our experience, and we define our meaning of our life and the purpose of our life. And the postmodern strength power is used to normalize people. It's quite different from the critical theory, because critical theory think the power is a place, it's a silence people. But the postmodernism argues that power is used to normalize. That means they manage people. They make people believe something is true, something is not true, and they forbidden us not to do something and drive us to do something. That's power. It's invisible. It's not a power to put you in jail or give you the tickets. No, the main power is to normalize. To normalize people, to make you speak what they want you to speak. And the postmodernism also values the individual experience and oppose collective experience. And they want you to speak out for yourself and not on behalf of others. So that's quite different. And influence on both paradigms, we can find different methods. The first one is narrative study. And narrative study is like we present the stories, which is not mainstream stories. Is quite different from mainstream ones. So it encourage people to reflect, to reflect the old system. And so, for example, if you grow up and you start to reflect your childhood and then you establish your view of the world, and you establish your view of education, so you know how to educate your children. You have your own ideas and perspective. So it's it's not the focus is not to present an objective truth, but instead is to reflect experience of story, a series of story, and establish its meaning to a person. Okay, and then the narrative starting notice what is present and absent in the story and why. That means, for example, if you want to qualitative research, you write a story and you select the material and you ignore others. And the narrative study would suggest what you ignore is actually matters. It actually matters because what you ignore, what the data you delete, are actually something important. It reflects something important. Why you think this is the agenda and others are not.
Roy,
Yeah.
all right, couple of minutes. Thank you.
Okay. I almost finished. And also critical race theory, and is talking about to present a counter story to incite people to reflect on the whole system, you know, and particularly focus on race relevant issues. And the final one is critical action research. Actually, it's based on traditional action research, but it critically reflects systematic problems. It focuses on systematic problems. You know, when we say critical, use the critical, that means we are not focusing on the individual levels of questions. We focus on systematic issues like policy, you know, the policy, like the system, like the, you know, some kind of stuff. Okay, but they also still have some limitations. The first is it emphasizes political correctness and vulnerable to nihilism, because people tend to not believe anything. As is for me, it's not right. You know, we still have something to believe. And also the activism may undermine credibility, because people will think, okay, you have political purpose and I don't believe you on your research. Okay, I'll stop here, and sorry, the time limitation. So now it's a question and discussion, and I want all of you to look back to answer the question again. Okay, I'll go back to the. Okay, please answer those 4 questions. Will you call yourself a scientist? Is education science? Is quantitative research scientific? Is qualitative research scientific?
Yes, I answer 4 yes.
So the same answers? Answers are all the same?
Yes. Right.
Okay, good, great. Anyone want to share your answers?
Education is science, but we often ignore the science and do it the wrong way. For example, in my country, if a child doesn't speak English, we make them learn English, but we don't build up their first language in Spanish well, even though the science tells us to do that. So we're not very good scientists sometimes.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. And anyone?
Are there any questions in the other languages? I'm looking on the chat. I don't see. Does anybody else have any questions for Dr. Wu? Well, thank you so much. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you at future symposiums. I believe that Kurt Bonk is here now.
Welcome.
Welcome, Dr. Kurt.
Does anybody
Professor
see Kurt? Oh, there he is. Oh, hello, everybody. I'm going to give Kurt the ability to be a co-host.
Yes.
And I'm gonna unmute. Where is that?
And Roy,
okay.
stop sharing.
Hi, Kurt. Welcome to our, my co-host. Hello, Kurt. Welcome to our second symposium. We have about 60 people here. We're excited. Kurt's a colleague from University of Indiana, travels the world. He's our superstar. And I'm really excited to see what he has to share with us today. Kurt, you can share your screen. You have that ability if you'd like.
So you want me to start?
Yes.
Okay. I
How are you?
wasn't sure.
Welcome
Okay,
to
I'm
our,
getting in
welcome
a
to our
little,
organization.
a
Thank
little,
you.
yeah, sure. I'm a little earlier than I planned. So I have been running 317 days in a row since COVID. I have not cut my hair since COVID, as you can tell. And I've been to my office one time, maybe
Wow.
twice. Yeah, yeah. It's been an interesting year for everybody, you know. And I think the age of online learning has finally arrived. We can christen it right here and now. We have arrived at a new era in education. And I've been studying e-learning, online learning, blended learning for decades. And this is different. The whole world is watching. So we have to make sure we're doing good things. Today's talk will be kind of a talk about the future, kind of talk about the present, a little bit about the past. We'll briefly start with a little bit of the past, be about a 30-minute talk. And so I'll try and provide resources along the way. If you want my notes, in about an hour, all my slides will be posted at trainingshare.com. All my slides, trainingshare.com. So you can take them. All my previous talks are there as well. Just take them and use them, steal them, put your name on them, do whatever you want with them. Just kidding. Thank me, maybe. I don't know.
It's really nice. Thank you.
Sure. And there'll be a PDF as well there. So let's see. Can you see this, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, great. So as you can see, we call this Education 2020 meets Education 4.0, visions of our changing learning world. Every time I go to Bangkok, they tend to want me to talk about Education 3.0 or Education 4.0 or Education 5.0 or Education 6.0. And I don't even think they're at 2.0 yet, but well, you know, they keep giving me this topic. So I thought I'd put 4.0 in here, even though no one is teaching it at Education 4.0, the age of innovation and creativity. We're still, many of us in countries around the world, lucky to be at Education 2.0, where it becomes more learner-centered, if you will. But I'll give you a vision of what I'm thinking is coming. In part, I'm going to talk about, you know, life is changing for all of us. I'm going to talk about my Education 2.0 model, trends for learning, and the trends for tomorrow. The trends for learning for engagement, access, and customization, and the 30 ways that learning is changing in front of our eyes. Around the world for all of us, wherever you happen to be, whether you are in China or you are down there in Bangkok or you are in India or wherever you are in the world. So in Indiana, where I'm from, we have a state next to us called Illinois. Now, nobody likes Illinois because it's so flat, but in Illinois, they developed the first social networking system, the first instant messaging, the first discussion forums, the first multiplayer online games, the first chat rooms, the first email, and it was all called the Plato system, where you actually could touch the screen like I'm doing now with my computer. And that was in the 1960s and 1970s. And that technology is with us today. That was an early age of the internet called the Plato system, if anyone wants to know the history of this. And into the 80s, that's me actually, 30 years ago, working with kids in a learning center that I developed. I developed a learning center for kids at risk in Wheeling, West Virginia. And we used technologies like Reader Rabbit that would let kids take more control over their learning. The software that came out in the 1980s let the kids design their own products, let the kids be active in their own learning. And it was an interesting time. Fast forward to today, and this was my master's thesis a long time ago, having kids use 30-odd packages for creativity, art, music, design, convergent thinking, divergent thinking, inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning, inferencing, originality. And then I was looking at software for critical thinking and creative thinking and so forth. But fast forward 30 years. And today, anyone can learn anything from anyone else at any time. Whether you're a young kid in the Philippines learning from researchers in Antarctica And I talk about that very thing in my book, The World is Open. I talk about how explorers in the Antarctica or in other parts of the world can be interacting with kids in schools from a satellite every night, and they can ask questions about their research in the Ice Stories projects. And so I start this book off with some interviews of people who were doing archaeology and doing science, doing marine science, doing other things around the world. And I got little stories, and this was in 2009, this book came out first, and in 2011, it came out in Chinese and in Arabic. And in effect, this is about the world becoming open for learning, for all of us to learn from, whether it's ebooks or having online simulations or animations or visualizations. Last week, I get an email. It said a dead man was teaching. And I read this article and it says, dead man teaching. Apparently students were taking a course from a person in art, and the professor had died a year or two ago, and they're keeping the course alive for him. Someone is still teaching the course. And that's what's possible with the internet. Whatever you do today could be used hundreds of years from now. Your blogs could be looked at by students in the year 2500, and they might be asking you questions, and you might be answering them. People might create AI bots based on your virtual presence. And so I have to ask, what's going on? What's going on here, right? We all have to ask that. And we'll see. I have a little sound clip. Let's see if you can hear this. Can you hear that, Jeff?
Yes.
So what's going on, okay? So on the count of three, let's all together say, hey, what's going on? 1, 2, 3.
What's going on?
What's going on? Okay. So then I get another email. This is last month or a month and a half ago. I get an email saying there's a MOOC on art and activism and social movements. That sounds kind of interesting. So I explored this MOOC about art and social movements and activism. And then the next day I get this email about monoliths showing up all over the place. And imagine these are the students taking the course and they're putting up monoliths all around the world, this mysterious monolith showing up. And I said, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And then I get the next day, I get this email that says, we got Cyber Monday happening. You can get a 20% discount on November, whatever day that was in November, you can get a 20% discount taking classes. Now, when I was going to school, no one ever got a discount coupon on education. It's a strange times that we live in when people get discounts on education. And I got, what's going on? So, the next day I get an email about Frank Sinatra. And someone's created an AI system to create music and a voice that sounds like Frank Sinatra singing at you. And I gotta wonder, what's going on? What's going on? And Jury she can sing better than I can. So we're in the midst of a disruptive time in education. The new normal in education is learning online. In this digital age, students who are savvy in a digital world and a physical world. And we have to be ready for the students who can easily walk in and out of a digital world and get their courses on their mobile devices. And I have 2 students right now doing dissertations about using mobile learning for your classes. Or we're learning in a physical world. We're in both. We're stepping in one world, we're stepping in another world. This is a new time. Okay, now, someone's gonna sing for us. I said, hey, what's going on? Okay, so what's going on? We're in the midst of a revolution. This gentleman from Belgium, if I played the video here, he would say, this is a strange time because teenagers are learning online that students were normally learning in graduate school. They're going to the internet to learn things. And the student who won an award at the World Economic Forum was a teenager who learned how to perforate seeds by watching YouTube videos. He learned how to grow more plants and crops from that. And he said, the world's become open for learning. And I said, that's out of my book. The world's become open for learning. And the informal learning that we have today enables people to learn not just science and math, but sports. The world's youngest golfer, the junior golfer in India, learned by watching Tiger Woods videos how to golf. And he was only 12 years old when he won a golf championship. Times are changing and people aren't learning in traditional schools anymore. We're learning outside of schools. Most learning is happening in an informal way, not in a formal way. 90% of learning is informal. And these are strange times. We have a revolution happening in front of us. And I'm going to try and point out three, in effect, categories or parts of that revolution, if you will. And so she's praying for a revolution. I don't think she has to pray for a revolution. The revolution has arrived. The revolution is here. It's in front of all of our eyes today. Part of that revolution is coming from the fact people are living longer. There's a book called The 100-Year Life from a couple of people in the UK. And because of that, those ideas are being sent out now about students are going to be living longer, needing education throughout their life. Lifelong learning is the common denominator of all this. Informal learning that is lifelong. No longer thinking about just academic learning in a university or schools. Outside of schools, we're going to take boot camps and learn computer programming. We're going to take micro-credentials. I have a student doing a dissertation on micro-credentials or certificates. People looking at taking short courses or MOOCs, or just using YouTube videos to learn how to golf or learn how to write or whatever. People are going to learn new skills and competencies throughout their life. Some of them are free on the left, just YouTube videos or TED Talks or this session right here. And some things are going to cost a little bit of money, still like graduate school. And all along the way, we might learn through professional certificates of some kind. An amazing global library of resources. Because today, we're moving from Wikipedia to Videopedia. We have video in front of our eyes at all times. And the storage has increased tremendously. So I can teach a class for a whole day and put it up on the internet that night or the next day and make it available for anyone in the world. 20 years ago, I taught my first video conferencing course in 1995. And we combined PictureTell and CUCME together and brought in experts around the world, just like this. And I wrote about it. And, you know, my president, he says, don't do this. You might bring down the internet. Back in 1995, he worried we'd bring down the internet. And, and today, no one worries at all. No one sends me any emails worrying I'm going to bring down the internet when I put a whole class for a 5-hour class on the internet. We can store a lot today, is the point. No longer a concern or as much of a concern, because we have to be thinking about these learners who are going to be learning across the lifespan. And so my former student, Rovi Brandon on the right there, has designed ideas about the 60-year curriculum. And I have a TV show or a webcast show every Saturday in the US, Sunday in Thailand, Saturday nights at 5:30 New York time, PM. It's about 5:30 or 6:30 in the morning, Bangkok time. We have a show called Silver Lining for Learning, and he was the guest last week. And we archive all our talks at silverliningforlearning.org. And maybe Jeff can put the link in the chat window for everybody. You can probably find that. So he's developing new models, thinking about the lifespan, because we have to start moving away from education 1.0 and 2.0 towards a time in which students have more control over their learning. Classes are moving away from lectures to more project-based, more discussion, more problem-based, more process-based, based on student interests. And so we're going to move to an age I'm calling Education 2020, like 2020 vision. I started writing on the book called Education 2020 3 years ago, and I haven't finished. I'll have to finish in 2025 or something. But well, I'm going to give you some ideas about that, Education 2020, and this moving to a new age. But you have to promise not to tell anybody because I've not finished the book. It's a secret. Okay, so it's a secret. Jeff, let me know if people try publishing it.
You got my word.
If you heard Gandalf there, what did he say? So please keep it secret. As Gandalf said, we have many roles of instructors. In part, an instructor is a concierge, sending students off on different journeys and different pathways based on the environment that exists that day. I have a class that I teach on emerging technologies for learning that's got a 100-page syllabus and everything's free. And it's a huge, and Jeff, if you go to my homepage, kurtbonk.com, you can get that syllabus and put the link in the chat window. R678, the monster syllabus, if you want.
Yes.
The woman on the bottom there, she's an orchestra conductor, weaving and patching all the information together in the course, all the free ebooks and all the animations and all the simulations and all of the guest speaker links and so forth. The woman in the upper left, she's in a museum. She's a curator, finding the golden nuggets and putting them on display. In many ways, a good instructor, a great online instructor, is a museum curator, is someone who's found the golden nuggets and made them available for her students or his students. And on the left there, we have a teacher as a counselor, teacher as a consultant, teacher as someone you could go to for advice and recommendations. And many students need some advice when they're self-directing their learning. It's not fully self-directed without a teacher, it's guided discovery learning. The guided approach to learning is the most impactful, not pure discovery, not pure teacher-centered, but somewhere in between where the teacher provides some guidance, some resources and scaffolds them properly. Those are 4 metaphors of the instructor of the 21st century. But really, I'm going to talk about 20 different ways or roles to think about the instructor. The instructor as a coach, a cook, a camping trip guide, a captain of a ship, a course ambassador, anybody who puts content on the internet, like a syllabus or an entire class like a MOOC, is a course ambassador. You're creating content and making it available for others. I don't have time in 30 minutes to go through all these. It would take me 30 minutes to do. So those are just 4 examples of what I'm talking about for the first 20 of Education 2020. All these different roles instructors have. It's no longer just to deliver instruction. There are many things that are important when you teach online. You have to be part caregiver, part consultant, part cultivator of crops, like a farmer. You have to be a farmer. But we also have to think about the second 20 of Education 2020. And David Merrill has the first principles of instruction. He's one of the most famous instructional designers in the world. He's retired now, so he said I could take over. But I said, David, I don't want first principles of instruction. He has the first principles of instruction. His 5 first principles of instruction say you have to activate prior knowledge in order to teach. You have to remind students what you learned yesterday. You have to demonstrate what you expect them to learn. You have to demonstrate the new content. You have to help them apply that content in the real world, make it authentic, make it meaningful, make it relevant to them, and integrate that knowledge together. Integrate the different learnings together into an assembly of competencies and skills. And we do that through problem-based learning. We do that through task-based learning. Those 5 principles are in his book called The First Principles of Instruction. He also has a couple articles. You can type his name, David Merrill, and First Principles of Instruction. And I think his article is free on that, okay? So I said, okay, if he's got the first principles, I need to create the last principles of instruction, the Learning Activation System Template, or LAST. And so I've designed 20 principles. The principle of flexibility, to have multiple due dates, a flexible agenda, a grace period to turn in assignments. If they're late, you can have extra time. Choice and options. Instead of giving students 4 assignments, I give them 10 assignments. You pick any 4. You have a choice. You have choice in your teams and who you want to work with. Or if you want to work in a team of some kind. So you have to have choice and options. You have to provide feedback along the way through critical friends, through peers, through experts, through the system, computer-based feedback, instructor-based feedback. There has to be multiple levels of scaffolds and support built within the system. I'm just notice I'm going through some of the principles because I don't have time in 30 minutes to go through all the principles. An important principle is the principle of sharing. And that's why I had Jeff put some links in the chat window there. My notes are free in trainingshare.com. My publications are in publicationshare.com. So if you go to Publication Share, you can download an entire book. You can go right now to a website called, and Jeff can maybe put this in the chat window.
I'm doing that.
techvariety.com. TEC-VARIETY, techvariety.com. And it's available in Chinese for free and in English. Soon, I hope, in Arabic, maybe Spanish, maybe Uzbek for Uzbekistan. The principle of sharing. So I've built 8 share sites, like Training Share, like Course Share, like Survey Share. I built a bunch. We have to believe in the power of sharing. When I first was a faculty member, nobody shared. Faculty did not share. Today, everybody shares all the time. But we want to make learning also authentic, relevant, meaningful, so that the learner's just not learning things in an endless loop and getting bored with your content, but they're learning something that they can apply in their current job or future jobs, thinking about how it can make an impact in their local communities or in life. That's the 14th principle out of 20. The 16th principle is the principle that's, yeah.
Excuse me, when you talk about sharing, when instructors copyright their courses, do you consider that a bad thing?
Well, it depends, because sometimes they might be working on a new patent. And then I understand why they would.
In education?
Again, I wouldn't necessarily call things good or bad. I would be disappointed if one copyrighted their course. I'd be disappointed. Right. I'm a believer in openness at all times for all courses. That's my belief. But I don't want to label someone who made that decision. They might not have an awareness of the importance of making it open, and so I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they can go to a training session and they would change their minds about that. So my hope would be, and that's what's happening in the world of openness. At least in the US here, it's really bad in terms of awareness of open resources for teaching, like open textbooks, free textbooks. Most faculty members are not even aware of them, so it's no wonder they're not using them. So in the grand scheme of things, in this book, in chapter 14, there's a chapter on helping reluctant instructors, helping instructors get motivated to use it. At first, here's the thing we go through. The first level is awareness. We have to be aware of what's possible, of these open resources, wikis, YouTube videos, podcasts, interactive simulations, animations. Those are awareness. Then comes, after awareness, what comes next, Jeff? Resistance. Everyone's resistant. I'm resistant of new things right away. The third stage is understanding of what's possible. The fourth stage is doing something with it, okay? And we've been stuck in online learning in the first 2 stages, awareness and resistance, awareness, resistance. The same thing happens in MOOCs now. We've moved to stage 3 and 4 because of COVID. Stage 5 is sharing your resources that you've designed. Stage 6 is advocacy, promoting it, training other people about it, having it go viral out there. So if an instructor doesn't have their syllabi on the web, or they've restricted copyright, they're stuck in stages 1 and 2. We can move them to stage 3, 4, 5, and 6, the hope is. too many people are stuck in stage 1 and 2 of aware. They're stuck in stage 0, actually. They're not even aware of it, right? And I wrote about this in 2001. I have an article, Jeff, if you write to me. It's a 10-level web integration continuum that I eventually expanded to 12 levels. And at UCLA in the 1990s, they had protests for online learning. The students would be in charge of an extra fee for putting syllabi on the web. It's just syllabi. People were protesting. And today, we not just have syllabi on the web, we have entire courses. UCLA is leading the way. So they started with just putting a syllabus on the web. That's level 1 or level 0 of my initial model. And to have a full university online or a collaborative partnership, universities working with others around the world, I think that's level 12. So I've been getting at these levels for a long time, and we've been stuck at the beginning levels for too long. And so I worked on the book, The World is Open book. And, you know, if you look at the left there, it spells we all learn. We all learn through ebooks and blended learning and availability of open source software and open courseware and mobile learning and electronic collaboration. You know, and in the book, I have each one of those is a chapter. And I interviewed many, many people. And you notice how thick this is. It was twice as thick. We cut half of the book out. And I was going to write a free book called The World is More Open. I never finished. I got almost done, actually. And I want to write another book called The World is Wide Open, how people's lives have changed through technology. And so when I travel the world and I go to Singapore, people greet me like this. All around the world, people greet me, the world is open. Bangkok at Sri Patam University, I'm Bangkok. And people raise their hands, they greet me like this, right? Right, Fawn? And you probably recognize somebody from Thailand, Fawn. Do you recognize anyone there?
Yes, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, the world is open.
So the world is open. When I go to Illinois, people greet me like this. When I come back to Indiana, they greet me like this. When I go to Taiwan, we have a bunch of people in the Philippines. When I was in Taiwan last night, they greet me like this. So I've got my camera out. If you could all put your arms up in the air, I'll maybe stop sharing here for a second. We can get a picture of everyone. And let's see if we can go on count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. So everyone, great. So I'll go back to sharing my screen again. Let's see if we can do this. Great. So everyone around the world has become aware of this open learning world that's in front of us. It's an exciting time. Because today we have many ways to think about learning. We have principles of learning. I'm calling the last principles of instruction. And so the LAST, the Learning Activation System Template, the principle of feedback, the principle of flexibility, the principle of choice and options, the principle of relevance, the principle of high expectations, the principle of empowerment, autonomy, the principle of trial and error. And failure is not a problem. Failure is in fact encouraged, so we can learn from our failures. The principle of expanded resources, the principle of non-traditional learning through VR, virtual worlds, and AR, augmented reality. These are the Education 2020, 20 new roles of instructors and 20 new principles of instruction. Learning is changing. It's no longer learning alone, but learning with other people. Learning in a cafe. In America, very popular is Starbucks. I'm not so sure if Starbucks is popular in Thailand. Fawn, do you use a Starbucks there?
Starbucks, yeah, we have so many branch.
Okay, so the Starbucks approach to learning in a cafe with others, all around you. We learn in a social space. We learn by sharing. We learn by interacting. We learn by collaborating with one another, not individual anymore. The students at Dubai Men's College on the left there were sharing their learning with one another. The teachers in the US on the right were sharing their lesson plans with one another. Today, we've got many ways that learning's changing. Learning's more open, more online, more blended, more global, more collaborative, more massive, more game-like, more interactive, There are many ways that learning is changing in front of our eyes today. And we have to take advantage of those ways. And so I'll talk a little bit about the fact that it's not just here in the US, but students in India, in China, around the world today, it's a new learning age. The technologies in front of us enable more people to learn than any time before. More than 1,000 educational technology companies exist in China alone. They've doubled the number of companies doing educational technology, like learning from a mobile device and so forth. So we have to think about the different trends, the mega trends for engagement, access, and personalization of learning. And so I'll start with number one. Again, each one of these would take me a half hour to go through. I'm just giving you a brief overview of some of them for you today. So learning is more hands-on, more social, as shown in that Starbucks examples, more mobile with our mobile devices in front of us at all time. Our learning's on smaller and smaller and smaller devices. This is a supercomputer. In 30 years ago, even 10 years ago, this would be the processing power of a supercomputer on our mobile devices. Learning is more visual. We're more visual. We're doing Videopedia, as I said. We have a lot more animations, simulations, and videos. We have maker spaces, so we have hands-on learning. We have 3D printers here at Indiana next to my office. We have, 2 days ago, I had a guest in my class doing game-based learning. His whole projects right now at his university are building games for learning, creating digital resource repositories to immerse students in and collaborative learning. So during COVID, people needed access to resources. Teachers needed access to resources, especially teachers doing special education, with students with special needs. We had to create digital repositories for learning. Learning is more digitally rich. Learning is more visual in nature. We can see an animation. We can see a simulation. We can see a visualization, a concept map, a mind map, a timeline, a taxonomy, some kind of, of visual template, if you will. So today learning is more visual. We can see a reconstruction of the Acropolis in Athens, Greece. We can see a reconstruction of a stadium in ancient Rome, and so forth through artificial intelligence. We can see exhibits in the British Museum by going to the website britishmuseum.withgoogle.com. That website, you can explore exhibits at the British Museum across different points in time. You can go back thousands of years in time and explore artifacts, different dolls, paintings, whatever, from 2000 BC, 1000 years ago, 500 years ago. That's at britishmuseumwithgoogle.com. So fascinating. This is a fascinating website that art teachers, history teachers, anthropology teachers, archaeologists might take advantage of, geography teachers, ancient history teachers. The third, another type of technology is immersive worlds. So on the far left, the teacher there is looking above the students' heads with her augmented reality glasses on. And I don't have my augmented reality glasses with me here today. I wish I forgot to bring them up. But if she puts them on, and you notice above students' heads, you see like a square shows up above their heads. That's an indicator of how many problems they got correct, how many problems they got wrong, where they're having difficulties. And so now the teacher can direct her feedback to the students who are having problems. She looks above the students' heads, and floating above the heads are icons. So this is going to be, I think, a popular technology in the not too distant future, where we immerse ourselves in learning. Chemistry, this student here, and you could click these links. When you download the slides, you can click the links, and there's an expanded talk that was an hour or over an hour I gave a month or so ago, 2 months ago. If you go to trainingshare.com and you get these slides, go to November 2 months ago, William Patterson University will have twice as long as what I'm presenting here today. So just it's all free. It's up there. It's up there right now. You can download those right now. Trainingshare.com, archive talks. You'll see that under archive talks on the left. So here's the student interacting with chemistry in a VR world. Now, I never took chemistry in high school. I heard the teacher was too hard, so I didn't take it. But if I had a virtual world, I probably would have taken it. More engaging, more interesting, and I wouldn't have that awful instructor. So level 2, phase 2 here is learning is more accessible than ever before. We can store video, a whole hour or 5 hours or 10 hours on the internet, no problem. Learning is more global. All of us today can interact in a global world or space online. So learning is much more global than ever before. Here I'm coming in from Indiana. You know, Fawn is coming in, I don't know, she's up in Marasarakam or Bangkok or Chiang Mai or
We have
Pattaya.
people in Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, China, Bhutan, America right now.
Right now. So we got a lot of Bhutan even. I had a student from Bhutan and I was in Vietnam a couple of years back. Great place. I love Vietnam.
I was with you. And
Yeah, you're with me. Okay, great. So you know, Vietnam's a lovely place. So is Thailand, and so are all these places, Malaysia, Singapore. I miss going to that part of the world. I can't wait to post-COVID times. One of my best colleagues and friends in Kuala Lumpur, she's talking about going to Bali and heading to Indonesia, wanting to do some event there. So maybe I'll be doing something in Bali. Let's hope. So, you know, this synchronous right now, we're doing synchronous, but we can store it. It's being recorded. Probably, Jeff, you're recording this?
yes,
you are. Yeah, so it's recorded. Can't make it, you know, you can watch it later. So it's ubiquitous. Learning is ubiquitous. We're learning all the time. My mobile's attached to me. It's always at the ready. It's always available to learn. If I have a question, I type it in the question, I get an answer. I have Google Home here and Alexa. I can ask questions of, you know. So, hey Google, what time is it?
8:30 a.m. And by the way, if you're ever feeling curious about other ways I can help, just ask, what can you do?
So my assistant bot is talking to me, you know, and so, you know, I can take you with me anywhere. In the middle of a talk, I can go outside in the snow and show you guys in the, you know, what snow looks like. So with a
Wow.
break there and so forth. So now my shoes are all full of snow, but you can see snowing around here.
yeah, we got a foot of it last weekend.
Oh, that's good.
Now I got a snowball in front of me. As you can see.
Wow. Wonderful.
Wonderful, yeah. Well, you can do anything you want to do. My point was, you can bring the world to anybody at any time. You know, this is a new ball game. It's a new world for learning, right? So we can learn direct from experts. Now, you might not consider me an expert, maybe I am. We can learn online. We can learn blended. We can learn informal. This is the second little bubble here. So I wrote an article for New Zealand people 4 years ago about 30 ways learning is changing. And if Jeff wants me, I'll send you that article. But if you go to publicationshare.com to 2016 or 2007, maybe 2017, there's an article on 30 ways learning is changing. Or type my name in Google and put 30 ways learning is changing. You have a free article. We'll go through all 30 ways. The learning is more synchronous. We're all teaching today, or some other technologies, or Skype, or whatever you're using. Learning's become open to bring in these experts around the world and create a community through this because of COVID. COVID's forced us to go to Zoom to learn. We've become, you know, Zoom bombing and all this stuff. But, you know, I've been doing synchronous since 1990. I did a national survey of synchronous and tools and collaborative tools 30 years ago. People have been doing this for a long time. This is not new. This is not rocket science. I've been coming up with many pedagogies. So I have a second book that's not free called the R2D2 book, or Empowering Online Learning. It also has a 100 ways to learn. So this free book, free ways to learn and teach online. This is another 100. So I've been working on all these pedagogy books. And most recently, I'm working on books on MOOCs, called MOOCs and Open Ed around the world. We have a chapter from Thailand and Malaysia and Indonesia and China and where else? Korea, India. We have Kenya. What's that?
You got the book, Jira.
Sri Lanka. So anyways, this is a MOOCs and Open Ed in the Global South. It just came out in 2020. So I've been working on different things and different projects. One thing is learning is more synchronous. We have these, what they call them robots. You can bring in a student who might have a disability. They're still able to come into the classroom through their remote vehicle, through their little AI bot or robot. Learning is more global. This woman whose mother came from Afghanistan to the UK has built a system called Chatterbox. Chatterbox lets refugees teach their native language to others and get paid for doing so. They get employment from teaching language online. They might be teaching English, or they might be teaching Spanish, or they might be teaching, some other kind of language, whatever it is, to others around the world. And so it's language program that's online, where people who need employment, who need a job, get paid for doing this. So it's a win-win situation. Learning's more immediate. Learning's more immediate. When there's a new discovery, a new dinosaur being discovered, immediately it gets in the news. There might be pictures about it. It might be a interview with a scientist explaining what this new dinosaur is, this new rare species. On the right there, we have an ancient ancestor of humans with a big mouth. It's actually a pebble, the size of a sand, but it's kind of like politicians. It might be a little sand, but it still has a big mouth, kind of like our last president in the US. Go there. So every day we've got new dinosaurs being discovered. The world's longest neck dinosaur, Jar Jar Binks dinosaur, being discovered. The most massive dinosaur being discovered, the titanosaur is being discovered. And immediately after we find these new, it can't even fit this dinosaur in the Smithsonian Museum. The head sticks out of one entryway, the tail sticks out of another. It's so big. The titanosaur, right? And then you've got the little species there that was being hunted by the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the poor little guy there. And we've got the unicorn being, in Siberian unicorn being found in Russia. And we've got the crazy beast and the tiny bug slayer. And we've got the newest, just last week, they found an aquatic dinosaur along the beaches in Egypt somewhere. So every day there's new discoveries, and every day we can get it into kids' learning in schools because it's available for free. We don't have to wait 2 years to get in a book. Instead of waiting 2 years to get in a book, it's available online immediately. Learning is immediate. Science is immediate. This is the difference between the age of the past and the age of the present. Learning is happening all the time. Learning is happening all the time. It's immediate, right? Learning is more video-based. There's a tool called Flipgrid that Microsoft makes available for free. Now, Jeff doesn't know this, but one of my best friends is the developer of Flipgrid. And so he's a professor at the University of Minnesota, up there in Minnesota, where they talk funny up there, yeah. So they're all from Norway and Sweden and all this. But his name is Dr. Charlie Miller. And Charlie built Flipgrid about 8 years ago. And Microsoft bought it and made it free to the world. So my students, those are my students right there, they're introducing each other in Flipgrid. They might discuss articles in Flipgrid. It's a threaded video discussion tool. It lets us, what's that, Jeff?
Like VoiceThread.
Like VoiceThread, but with video. Similar to VoiceThread existed for a long time. VoiceThread's been out there for 20 years. But in VoiceThread, you can add all sorts of media components in here too. But many tools existed for audio threading. There are various language tools that existed for a while. some built in New Zealand and Australia that let you do threaded audio discussion. This is video discussion of 1.5 minutes long, typically each at the most. I have a weekly show, as I mentioned, called Silver Lining for Learning. So every Saturday in the US, Sunday in Malaysia, Bangkok, Thailand, Vietnam, Bhutan, every Sunday morning for you, we have guests that come in. We've had 44 shows so far. And so we bring in people who are changing the world, people who are rethinking education for this COVID time. During the pandemic, we want to have a different guest every week, showcasing their knowledge, showcasing their learning, showcasing their ideas. It's called Silver Lining for Learning. Dr. Chris Deedy at Harvard, a very famous futurist, is co-hosting with me, and we have different co-hosts on the show. And you can type that link. You can get that link to everyone there, Jeff. Silver
Have you
Lining.
got room for Dr. K on one of your shows?
We have room for lots of people on one of our shows. Take a look at the shows that are coming up.
Great. I would like to be a part of that.
Definitely come in, watch one of our shows, and take a look at what we do.
Cool.
Learning is more free and open textbook network. The University of Minnesota has an open textbook network. The University of Rice University in Texas has something that they've created too, open stacks. So type in, Jeff, OPENSTAX.
Okay.
STAX. See if you can find that link for everyone. That will have free textbooks for you. So different places in the US are trying to create open book projects or free book projects. Indiana's working on a digital book project with publishers. We have a consortium working together on that. But you can see the amount of money people are saving in real money, in millions of dollars from having free books.
And at my university, we're encouraged to develop open ed resources, courses.
There you go.
And I've already taken advantage of one of those, opportunities for special education.
So yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what we should be doing. And it was not the case, Jeff, 10 years ago. This is the more recent phenomenon that's happening here. And so finally, universities are understanding what's possible. Finally, instructors are. And so we get to part 3, customizing learning. We have learning's more massive, more flipped, more blended, more modular, more competency-based, more personalized, customized learning. Flipped learning classrooms. I have 4 or 5 studies on flipped learning in China and Korea that are published. If anyone wants to read, our recent research just got published last month. Our new study on flipped classroom, where they use videos like the Khan Academy to flip instruction. So you might watch a video and then discuss the video. Salman Khan has created a whole suite of videos in geometry and algebra, finance, English, every content area, and made them free to the world. Bill Gates from Microsoft has given them millions and millions of dollars to create assessments around those systems. And so, students can learn at their own pace, in their own space, at their own time from the Khan Academy videos. And it can tell what the type of problems the student has, what types of errors they're making in the math problems. There's an AI system embedded underneath that can understand the bugs in one's thinking and provide them with remedial support so they become a better learner. There's also an emphasis on creating spaces for learning today, creating environments that are more active and engaging, that are movable. We can move the spaces around. This is Indiana University spaces called the Mosaic Project. The Mosaic is our active learning project. And my top doctoral students are researchers in this project, in fact. And so they're researchers on the Mosaic Project, active learning spaces, collaborative learning spaces. This is here's some teachers then they're brought in and have discussions about what those spaces look like and how they can use those spaces to think about computer-supported collaborative learning. And that's the norm today. This was the exception 30 years ago. Learning is more on demand, so I can learn from my assistant like Alexa or Google Home or something, and I can ask them questions and get an answer. And at any time, I can have my voice assistant. And I think in classrooms, we'll have robots 10 years from now as our class assistants. We'll have these chat bots as our assistants at all time. Because learners want to learn just in time. They want to learn what they need just enough. We're changing our learning to be a less degree-like and more credential-like, getting certificates, credentials, micro degrees, nano degrees, micro credentials. All these kinds of things are very fast growing. Undergraduate non-degree certificate programs are exploding, you know. So we see many people getting certificates as an IT professional, as a data scientist, a certificate in leadership and management, cybersecurity, all these kinds of certificates, especially anything related to data and data science today from Coursera or other companies out there. MIT has EDX. And so graduate degrees, yeah, bachelor's degrees, yes, associate, yes, but skills training, non-degree credentials are growing at a faster pace than traditional college undergraduate and graduate degrees are.
Kurt, I took advantage of Google Analytics training online. I also took advantage of contact tracer training online.
Yeah, and it's amazing what's possible. I wrote to someone yesterday who's got a new book on creative genius, and I sent it to my team, my research team. And one of my research teams, she says, "Oh, I took his MOOC." You know, I mean, everyone seems to have a connection to learning everywhere. You know, it's strange. During COVID, people are taking different things. You notice here, people are learning how to play the ukulele, or learning how to do art, or learning about creativity, or meditation, innovation, all sorts of topics, stress management, virtual teaming. These things are exploding, and it depends on the country. In Italy and Spain, they're learning how to play guitar and the piano because they're on their patios during COVID, and they're learning how to serenade their girlfriends and boyfriends. People in India, they're learning about business. People in the US, they're learning about photography. People in Mexico, they're learning speed reading. People in, you know, as I said, in different countries. In Canada, it's stock training are the most popular courses. And you can see by the numbers, the amount of web traffic for MOOCs since COVID started. From February to July, it's exploded. People are learning online, as Jeff just pointed out. Whatever course he wants to take, he can take online. If you want these stats are at Class Central. If you go to classcentral.com, they have monthly statistics that come out and annual statistics that have come out since the dawn of MOOCs. So my colleagues, Tom Reeves in the upper right, Tom Reynolds down below, Tom Reeves from Georgia, Tom Reynolds from National U, Ka Jong in the right there in red from Wayne State, and Mimi Lee from the University of Houston. We've done a couple of books, 3 books in fact, different people in the group have done these books on MOOCs and open education. Hey, what's going on? And so what's going on is kids in Nepal are learning English. They're getting certificates from Berkeley and Harvard. Their parents were worried when they come home from work. More and more kids get access to the internet, and they're worried about kids playing games. And now they're finding out that their young children are learning English to get ready for college. They're learning English from Harvard and Stanford, and their parents are happy. Hundreds of kids around Nepal are now learning in this, you know, from different courses that they find online during COVID. And we have a chapter in the book talking about that from Nepal. There's a chapter from Nepal, and there's a chapter from people who are working together to clean the environment. People in South Africa, in China, in the Caribbean, in Colombia, in parts of South America, and so forth. They're learning how to work together to clean the environment. And it's called MOOCs for a Cause. MOOCs for a Cause. And there's a professor at Cornell, Marion Krasny, who's got a network of people to help with science and technology, engineering, math, STEM. Another chapter in this book, the last one I'll mention, is from the Commonwealth of Learning in Vancouver. They've got teachers in India and in Africa who are learning about farming through their mobile devices. They're learning about crop rotation, planting, budgeting, and all sorts of things on their mobile devices. They take a MOOC, and they're providing all sorts of free classes for them that are available to help with climate change and other topics. And so, you know, this is an example where we can get information out. In fact, they've developed a MOOC kit. They developed a MOOC kit for low bandwidth access to contents. And so you can read about that. And if anyone wants one of the chapters, I'll send them to you. So there are 30 ways that learning is changing. Learning is more visual, more immersive, more touch-centered, more free, more global, more immediate, more video-based. We're learning all the time. I've talked a little bit fast here, but suffice to say, there's a lot I didn't even get a chance to touch on about how learning is more communal. I haven't really gotten into the flipped classroom aspects of things.
Well, we're just going to have you come back sometime.
It's when it's needed, yeah.
That'd be great.
Part 4, trends for tomorrow. Real quickly in the trends for tomorrow, you know, are we moving to a robot age? Are we moving to virtual Einsteins at our desk? Maybe. We're going to have what's called binge learning. Like in America today, it's very popular to watch movies during COVID in Netflix. We're going to have the Netflix approach to education, where we can learn class after class after class after class. People will learn on a binge. Will all weekend be learning our classes. Instead of 1 hour or 2 hour, we'll learn for 12 hours. Second thing, we're going to have super e-mentors and coaches on the internet. We'll have someone at our side always helping and monitor and giving feedback as that guide on the side, if you will. There'll be a rise of mentors, a rise of teachers who appear on the internet to help. There'll also be interactive agents and tutors available to you. So I'm not going to play any videos here for the sake of time, and I worry, you know, about messing up my talk if I put the video on. But this gentleman here, I don't know if I have his picture. I don't have his picture here. He's created a way to teach Mandarin language through a video wall with, you know, with an interactive panda bear. And so with the interactive panda bear, you can order food in a restaurant, you know, and so off of a menu, up on the video wall screen, you talk to a video wall, if you will. And I've been thinking about this as a possible way to learn for decades, actually. And so having this interactive wall that you can get feedback, you can get explanations. So he clarifies in Chinese and Mandarin what you've ordered for your food. So you're learning Mandarin while he takes your order, she takes your order from you. So an interactive kind of secondary teacher, if you will. The fourth thing I mentioned is that because of the 100-year curriculum, 100-year life and the 60-year curriculum, we need to think about the university of the third age. The third age being, the first age is being a young kid. Second is we're working. Now the third age is when we decide to go a different route, if you will, and to continue to learn in our third age. And so after you've raised your family, after you've finished your work life, you go back to the university and pursue other interests and other hobbies and other skills and other competencies. So the UK has actually got a website called the University of the Third Age. It's a UK-wide movement that brings together people who are learning throughout their lives. And it's exploded, actually. And this will be something that takes off in different places around the world, and will form communities with other people who aren't necessarily our neighbors physically, but are our neighbors mentally. and our neighbors in our global community. I want to mention 2 books. They're down my upstairs. I should have brought them up, but 2 books from Johns Hopkins came out in 2020, Johns Hopkins University Press. One is called Learning Innovation and the Future of Higher Ed by Joshua Kim. Joshua Kim has a free blog every day in Inside Higher Ed. So Jeff might be able to go to Inside Higher Ed and type Joshua Kim, and you can go to his link and read his blog posts. He turned his blog post into a book called Learning Innovation. My friend Brian Alexander with the long beard on the right has a book called Academia Next, the Future of Higher Ed. And you can type in Brian Alexander, and he has a free, he has a future forum every Thursday. He has different guests that he brings in every Thursday afternoon. In the US, it'd be Friday in Thailand, Friday in Vietnam, but those are recorded, and he uses a tool called Shindig. It's a free tool for interactive synchronous discussions. Multiple synchronous discussions can take place in Shindig. So 2 people I wanted to mention to you, 2 books. They both have free websites with lots to offer.
Okay, Kurt, thank you so much. Are we ready for some questions and answers?
Yeah, so I'm ending here. So we're at a jumping off point. So we're not really sure where we're going. And I was in China a couple years ago. And so if I get everyone to stand, everyone can stand up with me. And I want, Fawn, you got to stand up. You got to sit there, Fawn. Jeff, you gotta stand up.
Sure. Okay, I will. Yeah,
all the women are going to jump with me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And all the women again, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, 1, 2,
And
3. Yeah.
All the men with me. All the men, 1, 2, 3. And all the men, 1, 2, 3. And everyone together, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Last time. No.
Okay. Yeah. Good exercise. Yeah. Good exercise.
So my point is we're at a jumping off point. COVID has forced us into this jumping off point. We're really not sure where we're going. We have a better sense of where we're going because of what's happened in the past year or so. You notice the people in China didn't jump when they're just taking my picture when I'm jumping there. I was down in Shenzhen a few years back. So we're praying for a revolution. We're all praying for a revolution. And so I can't do this alone. So on the count of 3, I want all of you to say, I can't do this alone. 1, 2, 3. I can't do this alone.
I can't do this alone.
1, 2, 3. I can't do this alone.
I can't do it alone.
I can do
1,
it
2,
alone.
3. I can't do this alone.
I can't do
I
this
can do
alone.
this alone.
Thank you very much. I'm glad that you're going to help me here. We're at a point where we need Education 2020. We need a new vision for tomorrow. We need to think about where we're going. My notes are at trainingshare.com. My publications are at publicationshare.com. I have a free book at Tech Variety. This is a new age that we're all entering into. It's an exciting age. It's about access. It's about engagement. It's about personalization and much more than that. 30 mega trends that are changing the world for me, for you, for your students, for your sons and daughters, for your parents, for your grandparents, for your nephews and nieces, for your peers, your colleagues, for everyone around the world. Learning is changing for everyone in front of our eyes. This is a new age. We need a new vision for where we're going tomorrow. And so I say, hey, 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 Fawn, help me. Hey, hey, hey. I said, hey.
Hey, hey, hey.
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
For helping me out with this talk.
Kurt, thank you. Why don't we get rid of your slide and take a picture of everybody together and let's give it up for Kurt. Outstanding. Everybody, let's some hands. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it. You're welcome to stay unless you want to go back and get some rest. And I really, like I say, we're really blessed to have you today. I have all the links for people. I'll be sending them out. And like I say, thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad to see some people here, Ming Ming. I'm glad to see you're smiling. Roy, good to have you here. And Fawn, you know, I'm going to say, is
Yeah.
Fawn next? Is Fawn going to present next?
Yes, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I will stay to listen to Fawn. Good to see Ting here.
Okay.
Good to see
Thank you.
Sasimi and Warporn. Everyone, thank you very much. Send me emails. I'm happy to
Well,
respond.
Kurt, thank you so much. And so, Fawn, you can you have the screen to share for your presentation.
Yes,
Dr.
yes.
Jirapam Chano from Mahasarakam University.
So you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff, for make a symposium. That is a wonderful symposium, and I be honored that we can meet again from, I think, 2013-14. I meet with Professor Kurt 2014 in Vietnam. That is 7 years ago. And that I know him. And Jeff, I have 2 books from Professor Kurt that he sent me from US.
Ah.
The world is open. Yeah, yeah. And empowering online learning. I will research. Next, my research. Thank you very much. Okay, today I will gonna talk about executive functions and self-regulations. This is my daughter photos when she was 5 years ago. Not 5 years old, and now she's 10 years old already. She pretend to be a scientist. Okay. I'm from Mahasarakam University, Thailand. I work be a chair of PhD program in curriculum and instruction. And today, my topic is executive functions and self-regulations. So I will talk about what is executive functions, what is self-regulations, and executive function and self-regulation in school curriculum and related research. What is executive functions? Executive function is a set of mental process that help us connect past experience with present action. And they are often referred as a brain boss that guide our behavior. And basic definition of executive functions often associate the frontal lobe as the primary source of these functions. We born with the brain, but executive function we have to train every year, every age, young and adult. And when we see about the brain anatomy, so you can see the frontal lobe and your head, your forehead. The frontal lobe is related to executive function, thinking, planning, organizing, and problem solving, emotion and behavioral control, and personalities. And in the midbrain, it's related to motor cortex when we movement, and sensory cortex, and temporal lobe. It's related to memories that we learn, we can recognize, we understand, and it's related to language as well. In parietal lobe, it's related to perception, making sense of the world, arithmetic, spelling. For the back, occipital lobe, is related to vision, we can see. And basal ganglion is movement and reward. This is the functions of the brain. So we come with the brain, but we have to train. And executive functions and executive functions and cell regulation skill provide critical support for learning and development. There are three basic dimensions of this skill: working memory, inhibitory control, cognitive flexibilities. For three basic dimensions of executive functions, what is working memory? It is abilities to hold information in mind and use it. And for inhibitory control, its ability to master thought and impulse so as to resist temptation, distraction, and habit, and to pause and think before action. Especially when you feel angry, you have to stop yourself. You have to buy yourself. So inhibit control is very important. And cognitive flexibilities, it is the capacity to switch gear and adjust the change demand priorities and perspective. So you can find diversity way to solve the problems. From the visual, you can see working memory. You can remind, you can recognize that today you have symposium, you have meeting that you have to join the class, the show, something like that. And for inhibitory control, they have an experiment about marshmallow test. You can see the child try to looking the marshmallow. The test is if she can patient for 5 minutes, she can get more marshmallow. That she have self-control and inhibitory control. If she can wait for 5 minutes, she will get 2 marshmallow. This is the test, something like that. And cognitive flexible or cognitive shift. So you can find a way. The creative person who try to think in diverse in many ways to solve the problem, they have a cognitive shift or cognitive flexibilities. Students build their skill through engagement in meaningful social interactions and enjoy activities that draw on self-regulatory skill at increasing demanding level. So you can see the children can plan, they can represent, plan, execute, and evaluation when they playing something. So they play and they learn in the same time. This is very important for children that play is meaningful, is very take their time, is meaningful for their thinking in the futures. Adults play a critical role in supporting or scaffolding the development of this skill. First, by helping children complete challenge tasks, and then by gradually stepping back to let children manage the process independently and learn from their mistake as they are ready and able to do so. You can see the children try to step by step which step have you reached today? I want do it. I will try to do it. I can do it. I will do it. And yay, I did it. So everyone, that if you can do like this, or you can think about how to manage yourself, it's very wonderful. What is the process of activating and sustaining thought, behavior, and emotion in order to reach goals. And it's related to self-management as well. Management of your own behavior and acceptance of responsibilities for your own action. Also, the use of behavioral learning principle to change your own behavior. The importance of self-regulatory capacity, such as attentional and control in school readiness and subsequent school-related outcome, including positive social and behavioral adjustment, learning or achievement, and improved standard test score. Self-regulatory learning is a general term used to refer to a range of cognitive and strategy, including metacognitions, time management, motivation, and health seeking. The self-regulated student intentionally expert effort towards managing and directing learning activities. And self-regulation is critically related to learning effectiveness, and high achieve students are typically high self-regulation in their approach to learning. For school readiness, if students have self-regulation, students who start in kindergarten with strong emergent literacy and numeracy skills are at the advantage in terms of initial school adjust and learning to read. So the importance of the skill acquired during the preschool development of reading and writing is very useful for them. And if they learn to phonological sensations, they learn the alphabet, they learn about how to read. Alphabet knowledge both show robust prediction association with later reading, recording, and comprehension skill. Oral language skill, including vocabulary and syntax, also support reading comprehensions. In addition, they foster children's abilities to understand, comply with behavioral demand of school. Equally important is the acquisitions of social emotion competency and support adaptive behavior adjust to school and nature approach to learnings. That is the important that they can have self-regulations and ready for school. Currently, emotion regulation skill and social competence show significant growth during the preschool years. And pro-social behaviors such as helping, sharing, and taking turn increase as children begin to understand the golden rule principle of social actions, and reciprocity is a practice to exchange, that you take turn to learn and to play. that is the important rate of aggressive show corresponding decline as students gain the self-regulation skill that allow them to inhibit reaction, aggression for favor socially appropriate. That is acquisitions of those social competency, emotional regulation, pro-social skill, and aggression control represents another important facet of school readiness, predict kindergarten and elementary school engage and academic success as well as positive peer. And the activities for the children 3 or 5 years, so we can give the imagination play, storytellings, movement challenge, song and game. And some they have a related research about exercise, physical exercise, and we can use song to play. And they have a study about executive function in infant attention theories. And some of the studies, they study on educational robotics intervention on executive functions in preschool children. And some of the researchers study on pathway to school readiness related to executive functions, predict academic and social emotional aspect of school readiness. And my own research, I researched in 2018, I studied on the development of executive function learning management model to enhance school readiness in early childhood with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And this is my model. It's focused on, I call base model. What is base model? The purpose of this model is mastery of executive function skill and management of behavior. So base is from brain gym. So you give the brain gym, you can sing a song, you can tell the story, and the children will feel relaxed. And activity in EF tasks, working memory, inhibit control, or cognitive flexible activities. And then you summary and reflection and evaluation and wrap up. So this is my model that I use. So at any age across the life circle, executive function can be improved, includes the elderly and infant. Early childhood is characterized by impressive gain in children cognitive and social development. And that sets the state of school readiness and success. Research suggests that executive function is the single best predictor of a school readiness. Thank you for your attention. That's all for my presentation. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you so much, Jirapon. Everybody, let's give it up for our speaker. And does anybody have questions they'd like to ask?
Yeah, Kurt say something. You are educational psychologist.
I like the base model. I think it's a great acronym, and you know, you should keep working on that. I think it's a great idea. It's nice and it's simple, easy to remember, and you can implement it across age groups. So, have you done a follow-up studies since your dissertation?
Yes, I implement it and I dissemination in the next research and I publication in Scopus as well. Thank you. I need more your suggestion.
Send the article.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And now our final speaker is my friend and colleague from Indonesia, Herli Salim. Herli, you have the ability to share your screen with us. Are you there, Herli?
Yeah.
Good, good.
Yes. Okay, everyone. Can you, Jeff, hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay.
You can
Thank you.
press present slideshow and get it to presentation mode.
One. Yeah.
There
Okay.
you go.
Thank you so much for this great opportunity. I would like to say hi to the outstanding academic, Professor Kurt Bong and Professor Jira, Roy, and many others. Especially my thank you goes to Dr. Jeff Kutzer, who has been giving me a chance to speak in this very honorable academic event. I'm feeling that my presentation right now is just to be based on my situation here in Indonesia, especially in regard with the research, because I feel that my research it's been now facing a new situation. So, in my opinion, there is a shift in research methodology during the pandemic era. So today's menu is that I'm going to talk about today's learning room and then COVID-19 and limitation and methodological shift, and then what platform using for research during the pandemic era. Today's learning, it is about on how to make learning in synchronous and asynchronous. Live synchronous learning, teacher and students are in the same time and place. And virtual synchronous learning, teacher and student are in the same time but different places. And then self-directed synchronous learning, learning independently, everywhere and anytime based on self-paced. And collaborative asynchronous learning, learning independently, everywhere and anytime with interactive collaboration of peers, expert, lecturer, parents, like just said by Dr. Bong, that we are now in the era of openness, that we should get collaborate with other academic around the globe. Because of the COVID outbreak here, doing research especially in Indonesia, had a very limitation. The students cannot go to school due to the fear of being infected. So research in my country, it's tend to be kind of highly rely on something like secondary data collection, not primary anymore. So we should go by using, for example, WhatsApp and then telephone call, and then many other tools like classroom. But the problem is that we should make this room alive, and we should also make one room and other room to reach the variety of the student capability. So we are now in the era of methodological change from traditional to digital-based methodological choices. Traditional face-to-face, we do interview, focus group discussion, paper-based, survey, experiment, field trip, observation, etc., without hindrance, without being very much problem. But due to COVID, we should do synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is virtual real-time interaction, cooperation in time. So we do interviews, focus group, discussion, and so on. And asynchronous not existing or happening at the same time, but we do online survey, journal, diaries, epistolary, asynchronous, and interview. My dear colleagues, platform of synchronous data collection here in my university. I've just mentioned to you all that we have like Zoom meeting, Google meeting, Skype, phone call, instant messenger, and so on here. Phone call, it's real time. And then Skype also co-presence, get together. Zoom meeting, you can do interactive. Google Meet, we can do practical. WebEx meeting, it is very efficient because it's covered a lot of participants. Platform of asynchronous, yes, SurveyMonkey, and then Go Survey, Google Forms, Microsoft Forms, and Typeform. Then advantage of online surveys, in my opinion, it is faster and then cheaper, yeah, not so expensive, more accurate because we can design to be based on our research question, quick to analyze because we can see the result. For example, if we are using Google Form, we can see the result in graphic form. Easy to use for participants, very critical. Easy to use for researchers, easy to style, to be based on our eagerness, more earnest, more selective, and more flexible. Using social media for data collection, we are here in our country like Facebook, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Story, Twitter Survey, YouTube, WhatsApp, and so on and so on. We have also like in Facebook group, we can do opinion survey. Facebook Messenger, we can do interview. Instagram Story, we can conduct focus group discussion. Twitter survey, we can do live observation. Instagram survey, we can do photo, video, voice amplification. YouTube, teaching observation. WhatsApp, we can do survey or focus discussion, etc. I think that's all I experience at the moment. So my research with my student right now is highly rely on this social media and really high on the secondary data collection, and we are happy to share if anyone from this group would like to add or would like to comment to my presentation. Once again, thank you so much for giving me chance, and we do hope can share and can meet in person in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harley, for your presentation. Any questions for Harley? I want to show you something if you give me a chance. Hang on. Google Drive. Okay, right here. I have an exit poll.
Yes, acceptable.
And if you complete these, hang on one second. If you complete this exit poll, I will mail you a certificate for your participation in this symposium. So here is a link to that. Wait a minute. Paste. I don't know why I'm not, hang on. Paste. Okay. Hang on one second again. I'm trying again. Gosh. Okay, so send like that. Copy. And then go to here. Can somebody help? I'm trying to get this pasted. Control V. No. Okay, one more time. One more time. Don't go away. Maybe this will work. No. I'm going to have to mail you that link on an email, everybody. Okay? Every participant, I will mail that link. So why don't we do one more thing? Why don't we all turn our cameras on and give everybody a thumbs up? Give me a second here to get this thing going. I will mail you those links for your certificates. Yes. It's so good to have everybody here. I am just thrilled to be able to share with you and continuing to just trying to make the world a better place. Look for us in May at the next symposium. And my partners, I will see you later in the week. Everybody have a great night and a great day. And
thank you everyone for participating and giving me chance to talk in this very honorable room. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you everyone. Jira.
Thank you. Thank you, Ming Ming. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Early. Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Sangpet. Thank you, Kurt.
Nice to be
Bye.
Thank you, Facebook.
Bye,
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Master. Thank you.